All right, let's jump right into this explainer and decode exactly what forces that hidden hand of the market to push product supply up or yank it down. I mean, whether you're analyzing global tech markets or just, trying to figure out why your favorite coffee suddenly costs way more, understanding how supply works, it's basically like having economic x-ray vision. So, here is our roadmap for today. First up, the basics of supply. Then, moving versus shifting. Next, we'll hit the 6 shift factors. And finally, we'll wrap up with predicting the market. Section 1. The basics of supply. It's really easy to assume that literally everything a factory produces just immediately hits the shelves, right? But the reality is actually much more calculated. A producer makes a very distinct, deliberate choice between what they hold on to and what they actually release into the wild. Think of it like this. Let's say a farmer harvests 10,000 kilograms of wheat. That is their stock. It's the intended, potential supply just sitting in a silo at a single point in time. But supply is a flow variable. It's the exact portion of that stock, say 5,000 kilograms, that the farmer is actually willing to put on the market at today's prevailing price over this specific week. So supply can never exceed stock, but stock frequently exceeds supply. Notice that upward sloping line here? It perfectly captures the law of supply, showing a positive relationship. Basically, if the price of a commodity goes up, the producer is motivated by profit to supply a larger quantity. And if the price falls, well, they supply less. Simple enough, right? Section 2. Moving versus shifting. Okay, before we get to the really fun part, we absolutely have to clear up what is probably the most common misconception in all of economics. The crucial point here is that a change in the price of the good itself simply moves you up or down the exact same line. It's just an expansion or contraction of supply. But changing outside factors, that literally picks up the entire line and drops it somewhere else. It creates an entirely new relationship between price and quantity. Section 3. The 6 shift factors. Brace yourselves because we are going to rapid fire through the definitive list of what actually shifts that curve. There are exactly 6 external shift factors. And for our visual rule of thumb, an event that increases supply shifts the curve to the right. An event that decreases supply shifts it to the left. Let's hit the cards. Factor 1 is technology. If a factory implements better, innovative production methods, their costs go down, their profit margins go up, and bam, you get a bright rightward arrow, a total increase in supply. But on the flip side, if an industry gets stuck using outdated, less efficient technology, production stalls out, triggering a leftward shift. Take a look at how a rightward shift actually plays out. The price on the vertical axis hasn't changed a single bit, yet because of that better technology, the producer is suddenly offering a much larger quantity. The whole market landscape just expanded. Factor 2 is input prices. We're talking about the cost of the raw materials and labor needed to actually make the good. A drop in raw material costs triggers a rightward shift, purely because it's cheaper to produce. Conversely, a nasty spike in resource costs squeezes those profit margins, triggering a rapid leftward shift. Moving on to Factor 3, the prices of other goods, specifically substitute goods in production. Think of a farmer trying to decide what to plant. If the market price of cabbage absolutely plummets, that farmer is going to divert their land to planting peas instead. Boom, the supply curve for peas shifts right. But if cabbage suddenly gets super expensive and highly profitable, they abandon the peas, causing the pea supply to shift left. Factor 4 covers government policy. If the government hands out subsidies, which is basically financial aid to producers, it reduces their costs and creates a rightward shift. On the flip side, slapping heavy excise or sales taxes on a production process raises cost instantly, and that creates a hard leftward shift. Factor 5 is producer price expectations, and this one is a bit of a mind bender. If sellers expect the price of their goods to crash next month, they panic. They liquidate their stock today, which forces a rightward shift right now. But if they expect prices to surge in the future, they hold back. They hoard their stock, causing a leftward shift today so they can cash in later. And finally, Factor 6 is simply the number of sellers. This is just basic market math. If an industry gets hot and a bunch of new sellers enter the market, the total market supply increases, shifting right. If sellers throw in the towel and just exit, the total supply decreases, shifting left. Section 4. Predicting the market. Now that we've sprinted through those 6 rules, let's talk about why recognizing these patterns is an absolute superpower for you. By instantly identifying whether a real-world event is just a temporary price movement along the curve, or a massive structural shift of the entire curve, you can accurately predict if a market is expanding right or shrinking left. You basically stop reacting to the market and start anticipating it. So I'll leave you with this scenario to test your new knowledge. Imagine a new law just drops that imposes massive taxes on producing AI servers. Based on those 6 cards we just went through, which way does the supply curve for AI shift today? And more importantly, how does that shift impact the technology we'll all be using tomorrow? Because understanding these underlying forces, that is the real key to seeing the economy clearly. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep an eye out for those hidden shifts in the world around you.